Justin, welcome to South Africa. It's been a long time. We've been very excited that when you made the announcement that you're coming. Obviously, your first trip to South Africa and a long flight from the States. So just tell us a bit about what the trip was like coming to South Africa.
It was a good trip. I was ready for a long haul. I usually travel to China annually, so I kind of pictured in my mind that was going to be that kind of distance. So it was easy to be able to get, to South Africa. I have a fear of turbulence, so I kind of try to block it out, watch movies, go to sleep, But when I realized we was flying over the Atlantic Ocean, I was like, oh, man, all right, let me go to sleep. But it was an easy trip. I enjoyed it.
Well, we're obviously very happy to see you here. It was great watching the press conference, great banter going on between yourself and Anaso and Akani Simbini. And what was very special for us South Africans is how you look at these guys and you're praising them, and for us that's very very special. I mean, you've had a long career already. You've seen a lot of athletes come and go, and for somebody to turn around, not only have banter with them but also to have praise for them, it means a lot to us back here in South Africa. And I think in terms of the South African sprinting scene, it's very exciting to see praise coming from a world champion, Olympic champion, for the South African athletes. But I mean, you had banter with them, but seriously, Akani and Anaso were some really good athletes coming from South Africa. You guys must be noticing it.
Oh, of course. You don't really get a chance to be able to witness the spirit of competition in an athlete, and race against both of those guys. You can tell, that they have the spirit of competition in them. They want to compete. They're ready to compete. And that's a very rare thing. And that's what's really going to help, the South African athletics to be able to come back on the rise again is, brave athletes who are willing to step out there and put the country on their back and be able to represent.
Obviously, for us, it's very exciting to see them perform well. But for the sport in itself, it's really good to have, because America was such a powerhouse for so many years, the Caribbean athletes came in, and America's back on the rise, coming through a phenomenal run with Coleman just recently as well. But it's healthy for the competition of the sport, and particularly in the sprints, that it's not just Caribbean and American based.
Yeah, I love the community of track and field, so I'm a fan. So be able to watch other countries on the rise, and come into their own, that just means more competition, more stories to tell, more excitement, and even more venues, obviously, to be able to compete at. And that helps not only, the fans, but it helps the other athletes to be able to have options, to be able to go to different places and be able to compete. So having this Grand Prix here in South Africa, I think it's going to be very amazing to be able to see how many athletes will come back and new athletes will come the year after year after year.
Seeing you in public, when we met you last night, very easygoing, very laid-back person, but the minute you step out of that call room, in fact, even in the call room in the warm-up area, there's a different persona. It's completely and utterly, folks. How do you prepare, and what are the steps that you do from the hotel to the track, warm-up area, call room, to the actual starting blocks? I mean, there's obviously a process there. What goes through your mind? How do you prepare yourself mentally, physically for that process?
It's just a feeling you have of being ready. I think of myself as a soldier getting ready for war. You have to prepare, and the night before I lay all my stuff out, get my clothes ready, and then on the day of competition, I'm kind of like in tune on what time it needs to be. I need to be getting dressed at this time. I need to be able to be downstairs at this time. I need to be able to start warming up at this time. And those kind of like that preparation helps you get to that level of success because, you're in tune, you're aware, but it's just you're treating like just a normal day.
Last time we spoke, when you announced that you're coming out, I did mention this, and I'd like to touch on it again, is that you were running in lane 8 in London, the World Champs in 2017. The Akani, Usain Bolt, Christian Coleman, they had the center lanes, the priority lanes, so to speak. That actually played into your hands, didn't it?
I believe so. I think that the guys in the center lanes weren't able to feel me on the outside, and usually it would be the opposite. It would be the guys in the outside lane can't feel the center. But I just wanted to stay in my race pattern, focus on my race, and I was able to snatch the victory from the outside lane.
That's key. You in the press conference, you were talking about staying focused, staying in your lane, focusing on execution, focusing on technique. And athletics is very much an individual sport. It's definitely not a team scenario. It's literally you on your own in that lane.
Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, you look at other sports where you have to be very in tuned, like tennis or golf, and you're out there by yourself. I think I'm kind of I got it good, man. You know, I only have to be out there for 9 seconds, and I'm gone. You know, so I think the preparation really is an importance of it is leading up to that moment. You know, and just be able to just kind of live in the moment. You know, I find that if you kind of like try to capture the moment and witness the moment as you're in the moment, that's when you just become a spectator and you're not focused, and that's when you usually lose the race because you're trying to witness history while you're being a part of history, which is impossible. I just think that you're able to look back at it later and be like, man, that was an amazing part of my life and part of my career.
Less than 10 seconds for 100 meters, and you say one stumble and the race is done. Is it different in the 200? Yes, it's double the distance, but it's still, you blink the eye, it's also gone. Do you have time to recover, or if there is any time, is it split milliseconds of recovery?
You have the opportunity to dig a little deeper, you know, and be able to kind of go from competition into just race mode, you know, especially if you're down with 50 meters to go and everyone's starting to fatigue. You're able to run people down, you know, and try to get on the podium. You've seen that happen a lot of times for different athletes in the 200. For 100, it's not that easy. You know, you kind of set your race pattern up, and you kind of just kind of execute it to the T, and hopefully that it be able to counter everybody else, and you'll be able to have that victory.
So the 150 tomorrow night is very different to the 100 or the 200. It's smack bang in the middle. Very rarely has it been raced competitively. Your thoughts going into it, do you ever got any idea how you're going to execute the race?
Just going to try to treat it like a hybrid 100, 200, I guess. I mean, it is a 150. Just try to drive, stay in the drive phase for at least for the first 25, 30 meters. You know, check raw mac as I come up my drive phase and be able to make another push going into the last home stretch. But I mean, you never know, because in 200 you are checking for your competitors. In the 100 you really can't check for your competitors unless they're like lane to lane next to you. So it's going to be a very unique situation, seeing how it is to come off that curve and be able to go into the next phase.
Lane preference for you?
I guess now I'm an outside kind of guy. I wouldn't mind like a 6 or 7, you know what I mean, to be able to have a turn where you can be able to get around it easier.
In the press conference, Anaso was throwing challenges at you. It was fantastic to see, but
Yeah.
obviously come race day, it's very serious between both of you. It is about the win, but knowing Anaso, he does joke a lot, but he is very serious, and it would be a huge scalp for him if he were to win tomorrow night. Does that even enter your mind frame?
Not necessarily what benefit will it have for him per se, but just to be as competitive as I can be, you know, as I go out there. Anaso is a great runner, you know, and obviously he doesn't back down for a challenge. Obviously the epic photo of him and Usain come across the line looking at each other, you know, he doesn't back down. So you're going to be the kind of athlete, you know, I have to be the kind of athlete that know that he's going to be the athlete that's going to push me to the finish line.
It's going to be an exciting race, certainly for us spectators. We're really looking forward to it. In terms of, it is March, it's a very early start for you. So typically how many races would you be looking at in a season? Because it is pretty much condensed from May to around about September. It's now been extended.
Yeah, maybe roughly maybe about 10 races. Just see how it unfolds, because you also got to plan how those races kind of coincide with, you know, your training and your preparation. You know, you don't want to jump out there too soon. You don't want to have too many races back to back. But there's certain places that you do want to go race at because they have good quality track and good fans. And then you want to be able to stay away from races that'll probably take you too far out, have you tired and fatigued for the next 3 races.
Your ambition for this year is obviously the biggest competition would be the World Cup or the Continental Cup. There's no World Champs or an Olympic Games. So what would be your focus for this year?
It'd be the first time where I can just kind of focus on myself, you know, just have fun, go out there and run, take on the challengers, and see where it just takes me around the world, man, and then get ready for the unorthodox 2019 season.
It is obviously because it is a championship year, and you spend a lot of time looking after your technique and training. Will this year, because there's no championships, allow you to look at your technique whilst racing as well?
Yeah, you know, I can be able to play around with different techniques more, you know, see where my next level of success can lie when it comes to technique. Obviously, if you see a lot of my races throughout my career, my technique has changed over time, but also has brought me success, you know. So it's not something that you just can say, hey, you know what? This time I'm just going to run with longer arms, or I'm going to run with a longer stride, or I'm going to run with a shorter stride. It's something that you kind of work in as you're training and see how it feels and where it goes, and then you kind of test it out at different meets.
So 2018, no championship year. 2019, you said a little bit unorthodox. World Championships, I think, is in October. Does that mean that the season's going to start a bit later? Have they thought about that? How are you approaching it?
I have no idea. I think it's just going to be those athletes who are really focused on World Championships, who want to make success for themselves. But then you also have athletes who are focused on the season and be able to earn a good income and be able to get to certain meets, and also the Diamond League as well. So I think it's going to be kind of split down the middle. You're going to have athletes who are going to bypass the World Championships just to focus on the season, not kind of like take themselves out.
Yeah.
And then you have athletes who are focused on World Championships and making a name for themselves and have some kind of medal on their resume. But it also kind of carries you into 2020, because now you've competed at October, which usually you'd be in the middle of your rest period. And then 2020 is just going to jump back to a regular season.
So what is your focus going to be? Is it going to be the World Champs, or is it going to be Diamond Leagues?
I have to buy for the 2020 World Championship, so I'm already at the starting line. So I'm excited about that, because that gives me opportunity to be able to, get into shape the way I want to get into shape, and not feel like I have to prepare myself for nationals and then find a way to peak, almost 3 months later.
Because your nationals are intense. They're almost a World Championship on their own.
It is. It's, at first I was like, it's kind of overrated when people say it's the hardest team to make. But, if you're thinking about, you're competing against, 8 of the guys on the starting line, and this is just like the second round, and all those 8 guys have ran sub 10. So it's a challenge. It kind of gets you, a little jittery sometimes, because anything can happen. Someone can have a breakout race and have a good, good start and be able to make that team.
Final question. We know you want to put your feet up and rest for tonight and get ready, for tomorrow night. You've had already a good long career. You mentioned your technique is very vital. What else could you advise youngsters to look for a long, successful career?
Always believe in yourself. Stay the path of who you are. Don't take a gamble, take a risk. Risk are really more educated. And don't get complacent. Don't feel like you've made it. To be a champion and stay, in the game for a long time, you always have to be able to challenge yourself. Even when you're not getting challenged by others, find a way to challenge yourself. And that's how you have longevity in the sport.
Something. Justin Gatlin, great pleasure chatting to you. Looking forward to the race tomorrow night, and we hope Anaso does something spectacular, but no doubt you're looking for a win.
Well, I understand. I mean, we're definitely here in his home country, and I know he has moved here recently, so I know the town and the city will definitely be on his side, but to be able to be here is an honor in South Africa, and hopefully, regardless of what the victory is, a win or a loss, I wanted to make it as exciting as possible.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.